Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the Harvard Maintenance Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Erica. Erica will tell you about her company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Erica?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erica from Harvard Maintenance. Harvard was actually founded in 1961. We are a cleaner custodial company in this division. We do have a total of 3 divisions, which is Harvard Protective Services, which deals with security positions, and then also HSG, which kind of does a little bit of everything, corporate positions as well as custodial. But for these particular positions, they fall under the HMI division, Harvard Maintenance Inc. We have a total of about 10,000 plus employees. We have openings currently in all different kinds of areas, including medical offices, hospitals, commercial buildings, industrial as well. So there are a little bit of everything in our custodial positions. We have different locations throughout. This particular fair will be focusing on the northwest suburbs. So those include anywhere from up north, Vernon Hills, Gurnee, to Downers Grove, Lombard, Wilmington, Rockford, so different areas. So we're basically going to be depending on what site you're closest to. Danny, if we could go to the next slide. So just a brief introduction. Erica, myself, I've been with the company since September of 2020, and I have about 5-6 years in recruiting experience. And Brenda, my co-partner, we actually started at the same time in September of 2020. She also has numerous of years of experience, 10 plus years in recruiting as well. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what the process will be, we'll kind of go through some standard Q&A per Daniel. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Fantastic. Thank you for that presentation, Erica.
Of course.
And as Erica stated, what we're going to go ahead and do is just kind of open things up for Q&A with folks that are on the call. So as I just entered into the chat, if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask Erica regarding any of the employment opportunities that she briefly covered at Harvard, please feel free to enter those into the chat. And of course, we will ask those questions for you and get those answered for you as soon as possible. In the meantime, Erica, while we're waiting for folks to enter their questions in the chat, I just do have some kind of basic standard questions I'd like to ask you, if you wouldn't mind answering a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
So Erica, is there any sort of minimum educational requirements that folks would need to have to apply for any of the positions that you covered today?
No.
Awesome, thank you for that. And another question that you can probably imagine comes across my events, at least quite frequently, especially with, positions like you're talking about in maintenance. A lot of folks have concerns or worries about COVID. Can you kind of explain how Harvard is handling COVID safety precautions?
Yes, so it is a company policy that all of our employees do wear masks for all sites. It's a company policy, but also most clients require it as well. We as a company provide all the necessary PPE. That includes masks, gloves as well. If you guys need anything else specifically, you would just need to let us know and we'll put in the request for those, but we do provide all the necessary PPE.
Awesome, thank you for that, Erica. And Erica, can you elaborate just a little bit more on your shift structure? Do you guys run night shifts, day shifts? If so, when do those typically start? And what are you seeking to hire for?
Yes, so we have different shifts. It's typically first and second shift. Majority of our openings are for second shift. Day shifts run anywhere. We have certain sites that start at 4 a.m., certain sites that start 7:30 or 8 a.m. The evenings, for the most part, typically start between 3 to 5 p.m. and on. And those run anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Erica. And Erica, do you offer things such as any sort of flexible scheduling, part-time work? I know that's a question that I receive frequently as well on a lot of these events.
So yes, we do have both part-time and full-time positions. There is flexibility with certain locations. For instance, more of up north, there's the medical offices. Those are a little bit flexible. For instance, let's use Sycamore as one of the examples. They are very flexible with the start times. You can start as late as 7 p.m. if that works with the current schedules that candidates have.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Erica. And Erica, another question that I receive in a lot of the events that I host is, are the companies that you would, recruit folks for, are a lot of them, second chance friendly, if you will? Will they, give folks that maybe have misdemeanor or minor infractions on their records a chance, to gain employment?
So all backgrounds are reviewed. If there is, let's say, a hit on a background, it gets sent over to our HR manager. If it's a little bit more intense, then they get sent over to legal. So from there, that gets reviewed, and then just depending on the background itself, what the background result is, then they would decide if, depending on the site, if it is something that we're able to bypass or not.
Understood. Thank you so much for that information, Erica. Erica, the next question that I have for you is, how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they're qualified for the position which they're applying for? Is there anything that you maybe suggest that candidates highlight in a resume, mention in an interview, just any sort of piece of advice that you'd like to give folks when applying?
Yes, the biggest thing is if they have the custodial experience or background, definitely highlight that on the resumes, but also when you are speaking to the hiring managers as well. Let them know, okay, I have experience in not just the basic cleaning, but cleaning in, let's say, for instance, a medical office, in a school setting, in a commercial building. Just specify where exactly you have received that cleaning custodial experience from.
Understood. Thank you for that, Erica. And Erica, if applicants have any questions regarding any of the positions that you covered here today, or just any general questions maybe about Harvard, how would they go about getting those questions answered? Would it be to contact you directly, or maybe another HR individual? Just in general, how would they get questions answered regarding their applications?
Yes, so both Brenda and myself are always available via email, text message, or phone call. At times, because we are recruiters, we're constantly on the phone. So there may be times we're not able to answer the phone, but if you send us a follow-up text, we'll be able to respond to you, and we will follow up with a call as well. If you'd like, feel free to email us. Any question, whether it's big or small, we are very tentative. We make sure that we reach out to every single candidate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Erica. And Erica, another question I'd like to ask you is, what are the opportunities for advancement within the organization or organizations? And are there any success stories maybe that you'd like to share with people who are tuning in?
Yes, so there is numerous of opportunities for advancement. As a matter of fact, one of our lead recruiters in the downtown area started in the custodial position. So he already had the ins and outs, and he was able to move his way up to, again, lead recruiter.
Excellent. Thank you, Erica. And another question that I receive a lot of events, whether it's, warehousing, transportation, maintenance, things of that nature. Do you guys provide any sort of funding for like maybe work specific attire like boots, shirts, things of that nature?
So we do provide all candidates with a uniform shirt. It's usually like a smock style shirt for the women, and then for the men, it's usually like a polo style shirt or, you know, whatever preference. But we do have those available where it has our logo on them. We don't unfortunately provide any other assistance with any specified type of shoes. For the most part, our positions don't require any specific kind of shoes. It's just whatever. We always suggest gym shoes, which is the most comfortable. But if they have any other type of shoes that they prefer, we just suggest that you wear comfortable shoes.
Excellent. Thank you, Erica. And Erica, I don't know if we already covered this or not. I don't believe so, but I do want to get that question answered. And that is, how long does the hiring process typically take uh, from the point of submitting application to actually getting that offer for hire?
Typically, I will say about 3 days, between 1 to 3 days. And that's based on, just depends on the site. If they require more intense background or a drug test, then that would take a little bit longer for us to receive the result. But for the onboarding paperwork, that usually takes about 30 minutes. Because we do e-verify, which confirms you're authorized to work in the United States. So that typically we get those results within a couple of hours as well. So I would say at the max about 3 days.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. And I just want to take a brief pause here and just remind folks, if you do have any questions for Erica regarding anything that's been covered here so far today, please feel free to enter that into the chat and we'll get those questions answered for you. Erica, while we're waiting for any sort of last minute questions to come in, I want to give you kind of a final opportunity to maybe make some summary statements or concluding remarks, maybe highlight something that you covered here today, maybe add something that maybe you feel you might have neglected to include in the presentation, just anything that you want folks to take away from the event here today.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. One of the biggest things that I want everyone to understand is, we are working with you. We're working for you. We are big on employees come first. That is one of our principles as Harvard. So we want to make sure that when we speak to you or you apply, we place you in the most fitting site, in the most fitting position, based on shift availability, based on location preference, based on pay. So we take all of that into consideration when we do our pre-screening with each individual candidate.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Erica. And Erica, as far as contact information to get a hold of you or your fellow recruiters, I don't know if you want to share that with folks on the call, drop that in the chat, or if there's a protocol or procedure you want to follow, you just let me know.
Yes, I will share it, and I apologize for not adding it to the slide, but I will share it now in the chat.
Excellent. And while Erica is doing that, we're going to kind of go ahead and begin the wrap up of today's session. So again, if you just joined, I saw we just had an individual join here a minute ago. If you do have any questions for Erica, feel free to enter those into the chat. And of course, we'll get those answered for you before we kind of wrap things up today. I do want to also note the session has been recorded. It will be uploaded to Illinois WorkNet's YouTube channel later this afternoon. So if there's anything that was covered here today, or perhaps you did join late and you didn't get to see the entire presentation, go over to there. The presentation will obviously be uploaded there. You'll be able to view everything that was covered here today, all the information that Erica covered, all the questions that I asked. And then of course, if you do have questions during, those applications, of course, feel free to reach out to Erica and her fellow recruiters over at Harvard, and they will assist you to make sure that your applications get submitted without a hitch. And it looks like Erica has entered her contact information. and her colleagues' contact information as well into the chat. So please take a look there. And of course, follow up with either of them if you do have any questions regarding positions that Harvard has available. Erica, I want to thank you again so much for your time today. Wonderful presentation. Thank you for all the responses to the questions and of course to the job seekers as well. Thank you for joining us today. And again, just be on the lookout for the video on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel later this afternoon, where you can access all the information again that was covered here today. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you as well. We greatly appreciate your help and your assistance with this. And we also appreciate everyone who joined us today.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you.